Thanks for staying with us. You're watching What Now? Now, December 6th has been scheduled by the military junta in Guinea-Bissau for presidential and legislative elections, and that's despite calls for a quicker transition to civilian rule. Transitional President Hota Ntam signed a decree on Wednesday after meeting members of the country's National Transitional Council, the military and government officials, as well as representatives of the Electoral Commission. He told journalists the conditions for free and fair elections had been met. After seizing power from President Umaro Sissoco Embalo in November, Guinea-Bissau's coup leaders came under pressure from the West African regional body, ECOWAS, to organize elections within a short transitional time frame. For more on the Guinea-Bissau's election schedule, African Affairs analyst Amuda Mosigbodi joins me from your state capital, Ibadan. Good to have you join us, Amuda.
Thank you so much, Precious, for having me.
So the junta in Guinea-Bissau took interrupted power last year, November 2025, and now they are to hold election this year, December. That's almost like a one-year transition period. Does this mean that the pressure from ECOWAS worked?
Well, thank you again for having me. First, I think we should not begin to rejoice too early. This is not the first time that the military junta would make propositions as regards transition to civil rule, and then will renege along the line, citing some inexcusable excuses. And I will not be surprised because, again, if you look at what is happening in Guinea-Bissau, the military has been a major part. I mean, a huge part of the history of Guinea-Bissau, even right from its independence from Portugal and of course up till now. So and knowing full well that the place of the military, particularly the military elite in Guinea-Bissau, has been hinged on the old drug cartel within the country, and now it plays a vital role. I do not see them handing over power. Now, do not mind my pessimism, but I'm saying this on the heels of previous experiences that we've had across Africa, where military leaders, in a bid to gain legitimacy from the international community, will promise transition to power. And as soon as they've been able to warm themselves into the hearts of the international community, then they renege. So that is why I feel that within the 1 year, for instance, if you say that you're going to have elections in the that you are throwing away everything that has to do with the last election that brought about you coming into power. Are we going to initiate new political parties? Are there going to be suspension of candidates? When with the electionary process?
But they say that the conditions, I don't know what that means, but the conditions for holding free and fair elections has been met. But the fact that both Guinea-Bissau and Guinea did not join the Alliance for the Sahel states, doesn't that sort of give them some level of credibility to believe that they are looking to have that quick transition?
Not necessarily. You know that Guinea-Bissau is not a French-speaking country. They gained their independence from Portugal, unlike
they're Lusophone country.
So, yeah, exactly. So there is a reason to hold back. For instance, if you say that all the conditions have been met, what are those conditions? Why is it caught up in mystery for us to know those conditions have been met for elections to hold? I feel strongly that this whole attempt is just a bid to warm itself into the hearts of people. More so, the man who is at the head of the military junta in Guinea-Bissau is a former chief of army staff, who also had a role to play in the whole drug cartel and of course the whole civil unrest within the state. So I have my pessimism really as regards that call that there will be a judge. Again, if it turns out to be so, maybe, who knows, maybe they are now following the ideals of Amilcar Cabral, who is also from Guinea-Bissau, who talks about the whole idea of a class suicide, that those who find themselves at the ends of affairs need to commit a suicide, a suicide to themselves or to the sense of their. Maybe that is what we're going to see. But again, it should be a huge one if that epiphany really takes place.
There is a trend of coup leaders in West Africa consolidating power and then extending their stay in office. Case in point, we just talked about Guinea. General Mamadi Doumbouya was just inaugurated as the president of Guinea after plotting coup in 2021 and holding elections last year. Are there indications that Guinea-Bissau will be an exception?
That's why I said that I have my pessimism. Who knows if there is going to be a transition of the military head to a civilian head, and then every opposition will be stifled as we have done in the Sahel countries that are under military stronghold. That is not impossible. We have seen that play out in a lot of military systems across the world, and of course, particularly in Africa. So when we see, if you look at the body language of military junta tells you a lot of things. Number one is that there is a possibility that they may toe that line. Number two is that why couch everything in mystery? There are a lot of issues that need to be unpacked, but this military administration or military junta has refused to unpack them. It then casts this aspersion on their intentions in the real sense of it. And that's why I said, well, I do not want to rejoice early. I want to still hold their actions in suspect until they are able to prove pessimists like me otherwise.
All right. I like that you call yourself a pessimist in this regard. Thank you so much, Amuda, for your time. Always a pleasure to have you on. African Affairs Analyst.